Okay, so I'm going to go over the steps to complete Project 48. So the scenario for this project is Cassandra will finish her spring classes in the coming weeks. She is using an Excel workbook to analyze her grades to help her focus on the classes that need more improvement. Cassandra has asked you to format her workbook to make the analysis clearer and easier to understand. So the first thing we want to do is switch to the grades worksheet. So I am going to select grades worksheet in our tabs. And we want to use AutoFit to resize column A to fit its contents. So to refit or to resize a column, we simply hold our mouse between the two columns, between column A and B, and when we have the sizing pointer, we just double click, and that resizes it to fit the content. Alright, so we want to set the column width of column E to approximately 14.00. So I'm going to select column E, right click, and I'm going to scroll down to column width. And default is 10.43, and I'm just going to type in 14.00 and click OK. That's going to resize that column for us. Now step 3 asks us to apply the Accent 5 cell style to the range A1 to E1. So I click here and A1 to E1 is selected, so I can see that this is a merged range, and I just want to change the accent cell style. I want to apply the Accent 5 cell style. So the first thing I want to do is go over here to my styles group. I'm going to select the more options, and I'm going to find Accent 5 and select it. And it also wants us to increase the font size to 15 points. So I'll come over here and I'll change my font size. So I don't have the option for 15. So what I need to do is just manually type in 15, and I can just press the enter key. Okay, so step 4 wants us to merge and center the range A3 to E3. So I'm going to find that range A3 to E3. And to merge and center, we just simply go up here to the alignment group and click merge and center. It also wants us to bold those. So we already have that cell selected, so now we can just go to the font group and click bold. Alright, step 5 asks us to center the text in the range B4 to E4. So I'm going to find that range. So I have B4, and I'm going to select over to E4, and it's just simply asking us to center it. So go up here to my alignment group and click center. And then it also asks us to change the font color to white background 1. So again, in the font group, I'm going to select the more option for font color, and I'm going to find white background 1, and it gives us the hint. It's the first column, first row in the themes color. Alright, so step 6. We want to use the Format Painter to apply the format from the range A7 to E7. We want to apply that format from range A7 to E7 to range A9 to E9. So I'm going to click on A7 to E7, and I'm just going to go up here and click Format Painter, and I'm going to copy that formatting to A9 to E9. So it also wants us to italicize. So we want to move on to cell A11 now. So I'm in cell A11, and we just simply want to italicize. So in the font group, I'm going to click on italicize. So now my total, the text for total is italicized, and we want to change that font to Times Roman numeral. So the more option in the font group for fonts, and I'm going to scroll down until I find Times Roman numeral, or Times New Roman. Alright, so step 8. In the range A11 to E11, so I'm here A11 over to E11, it wants us to apply a thick outside border. So again, I come up here to my fonts group, more options, and I just scroll down until I find that thick outside border. And it also wants us to apply the fill color yellow. So remember, fill color is the little paint bucket. So it gives us a hint. It's in the fourth column, first row of the standard colors. So fourth column, first row. So I applied that yellow. Now Cassandra wants to know at a glance which courses she is passing. So to find that information, we're going to apply conditional formatting. So we want to select the range B11 to E11. So here's my column B. So I have B11 to E11. And I want to use conditional formatting. So still in the Home tab, over here in the Styles group, we see conditional formatting. So it wants us to use highlight cells rules. So I'm clicking highlight cells rules, and we want to use a green fill with dark text color for anything greater than 70. So if it did not default 70 in there, you could simply type in 70, and then we want to use the more option to choose green fill with dark green text. So I've selected the color, and now I can click OK. So now you can see that any classes that Cassandra is making a grade higher than 70 is now highlighted green. Alright, so step 10, we want to apply the short date number format to cell C14. So here's row 14 and here's cell C14. And so we simply want to go up here in the Home tab to our number group and more option, and we want to scroll down until we find short date. That just changes the format of that date. So again, we're going to change a format on our percentage on our number below here. So in cell C15, we want to apply the percentage number format. So again, same thing, number group, scroll down the list until we find percentage. And it wants us to decrease the number of decimal places to 0. So again, in the number group, we have increased decimal places and decrease. So we want to click it 2 times. We do not want to have decimal places. So step 12, Cassandra would like to see the amount of tuition paid in monetary and rounded format. So we're going to apply the accounting number format to cell C16. I'm going to click cell C16 and then decrease the number of decimal places shown to 0. So I'm going to well, first we need to apply the accounting format. So let me jump back up here in the number group, and I'm going to scroll down through here until I find accounting. So notice that it puts in our dollar sign and it appears as a monetary value. Now we want to change our decimal places to 0. So here we'll click 2 times, 1, 2. So we have 0 decimal places. And our hint in our instruction tells us that the number formatting changes, and now it shows that it's custom. So it's still accounting, but because we've changed the decimal places, now it says custom. Alright, so step 13. We want to find and replace all occurrences of the text SEM period with semester. So it gives us a hint that we should make 2 replacements. So what we want to do is, still on our Home tab over in the editing group, we want to click on Find and Select and click Find. So we get our little pop-up window. So what we want to find is SEM period, and what we want to replace it with is semester without the period. So we just want to replace all. So my Excel tells me that they've made 2 replacements, so I click OK, and now I can just close this window. If I look back in here, now I can see that the SEM period is no longer there, that it's replaced with semester. Okay, so step 14 wants us to check our spelling in our workbook. So we can just go over here to our Review tab and check spelling. So I click the Check Spelling option. Now the first thing that pops up is, do you want to continue checking at the beginning of the sheet? Well, notice my active cell here is C16. So it's only checked the spelling in that cell. So I have to click yes to check the spelling in the whole workbook. So I'm going to click yes. And so it brings up that project is misspelled, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. Analysis is misspelled, so I'm going to change that. And now tuition, so I've changed that. So spell check is complete, so you're good to go. So I'm going to click OK. So moving on to step 15, Cassandra added a row to her worksheet to account for her final exam grades in each of her classes, so she no longer needs the reminder note in cell A18. So we want to delete row A18. So I'm just simply going to click 18, row 18, and now I'm going to right click. I'm going to click delete, and that row is gone now. Okay. Now step 16 asks us to rename the grades worksheet Spring 2018 grades, then change the tab color of the worksheet to blue. So to rename a worksheet, we can simply go down here to the tab and right click, and then we can just click rename. So now grades is highlighted and we can type in the name that we actually want. So we want to type in Spring 2018 grades. And it also asks us to change the tab color. So again, I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose tab color, and the hint tells me it's the 8th column in the first row of the standard color palette. So I'm going to change that to blue. Alright, so the next thing it wants us to do on step 17 is Cassandra also keeps track of her general education graduation requirements in this workbook. So we want to switch to the graduation requirements worksheet. We just simply click the tab for graduation requirements, and for the range B3 to C8, so here I have B3, over here is C, and I'm going to go all the way down to 8. It wants us to increase the number of decimal places to 1. So we just go back to our home tab, and in our number group, we decreased the decimal places before, so this time we just want to increase by 1. So we click it one time. Alright, step 18. In the range B6 to C6, so come up here, I'm in column B, so I'm selecting that range. It wants us to use conditional formatting to create a data bar's rules and use the gradient fill blue data bar color option for these data bars. So all we have to do for this is we have our two cells selected, and we go up here in our styles group to conditional formatting, and we want to choose data bars, and it's asking us to choose the gradient fill blue data bar. So gradient fill and blue, so this is adding a colored data bar to represent the value in a cell. The higher the value, the longer the bar. So chose that, and so the last step asks us to move the graduation requirement worksheet after the Spring 2018 schedule worksheet. Hint, the order of the worksheets in the workbook should be as follows. So it's supposed to be documentation, then Spring 2018 grades, next is 2018 schedule, and then graduation requirements. So we just simply want to move the graduation requirements, and to do that I clicked it and I'm holding my mouse, and I'm just going to drag it after Spring 2018 schedule, and that moved it. Of course, you can right click and click move or copy, and you can move it that way as well. Alright, so just to verify, my workbook should be documentation, Spring 2018 grades, Spring 2018 schedule, and graduation requirements. So it's telling me my workbook should look like the final figures on the following pages. Save it and submit it. So if you work through this and have any questions, feel free to contact me.